So you guys know one of my biggest pet peeves is when people say that Donald Trump is anti-war. And you know what? It's kind of common. We hear this a decent amount from a broad range of people. So, I mean, you guys know the record because you watch this show. Trump kept us in Iraq. He kept us in Afghanistan. He assassinated General Soleimani, a top Iranian commander who was in the field fighting ISIS. So acting as the de facto air force for ISIS in the process. By the way, that nearly sparked a much wider conflict. Trump tried to coup Venezuela, ripped up the Iran agreement, which was a horrible idea. They're now closer to a nuclear weapon than they've ever been when everything was fine before that, and they weren't getting closer to a nuclear weapon, and the IAEA said they were following the deal. Trump wants war with Mexico. He wants to declare the drug cartels terrorists and allow us to go in there and airstrike them. He armed Saudi Arabia as they did a genocide in Yemen and then vetoed a bill to try to stop our support for Saudi's genocide in Yemen. He did the Abraham Accords and he moved the embassy to Jerusalem, which helped lead to October 7th. I mean, the list goes on and on of the increased drone strikes, 432%, like all these things. He's just not anti-war. He's just not. That's why he had John Bolton and Gina Haspel and Mike Pompeo and all these neocons surrounding him, is that he felt like these are the big, tough, strong guys who take no nonsense. And even though he might say some dovish things on the campaign trail, that was who actually controlled his policies. Okay? So it drives me crazy when people say that. Well, now we got another one to add to the list. Trump hints at toppling Cuban government if elected. Quote, "It's gonna be changed." So don't take my word for it. Let's listen to him.
I want to express my admiration and support for all of the brave people of Cuba who are standing up against the vile communist regime. It's not easy, and we appreciate it, and it's going to be changed. Under Cuba's brutal and corrupt dictators, the Cuban people are suffering terrible food shortages, energy blackouts, poverty, political repression, and religious persecution. I want the people of Cuba to know that we are watching what is happening in Santiago very closely. We are watching it every single minute of the day. We are with you. Under my administration, we will return to being very strong on the oppressors. Unlike crooked Joe Biden, who has been very weak on the communists, I stand with the Cuban people. He does not stand with them. He doesn't care about them. He couldn't care less. I echo your call for the release of political prisoners in Cuba and for the free and fair election that we have to have. You have to have free and fair elections. Our country has some problems with that also, by the way. Most of all, I share your vision for a Cuba that is safe, prosperous, and free. God bless the Cuban people, and God bless America.
So you heard him at the beginning. It has to be changed. One more time.
Support for all of the brave people of Cuba who are standing up against the vile communist regime. It's not easy, and we appreciate it, and it's going to be changed.
So for those of you who don't remember, it was actually under the Obama administration that he started going in the other direction. And he started to normalize relations with Cuba. I remember that. That was one of the best things Obama did. And then Trump gets in there and reverses, goes right back to the embargo, all the sanctions, all that stuff. And now comes out and says, like, yeah, I'm with the people. I want the government to be changed. It's got to change. Well, first of all, the embargo and the sanctions alone, I oppose, right? If you want to have some sort of a deal, you want to have hostages freed, the way to do that is to open up lines of communication. Don't go in an aggressive direction. Well, he's saying he's going to do the aggressive direction, but remember, guys, in his first term, he also tried to coup Venezuela. Remember the whole Juan Guaido fiasco? Remember the literal, like, Cartoon Network coup attempt? Some Looney Tunes ass shit that they were doing? And here he is openly talking about it here. By the way, one of the things you'll notice when it comes to Trump, he has no coherent philosophy vis-a-vis foreign policy. It's not like, it's not like, say, a George W. Bush, who in every instance was like a cowboy shooting in every which direction. War is always the answer. And it's not like sort of like a pragmatic, realpolitik approach of you deal with the world as it is. It's not even like an isolationist type approach. It's a total amalgamation of contradictory beliefs. Like, for example, Trump, as he ripped up the Iranian nuclear agreement, He literally was trying to get an Iranian nuclear-like agreement with North Korea. So what happened? Is dealing with our enemies and having some sort of an agreement good or bad? Apparently, when Obama does it with Iran, it's bad, but he wants to do a very similar agreement with North Korea. But clearly, at least when it comes to South America, the approach seems pretty consistent. More sanctions, more embargoes, more CIA Looney Tunes-ass coup attempts, and now it just comes out and talks about it. That has to be changed. The government has to be changed. Who the fuck are you to determine that shit? So what I would say is to the America First people, to the extent they actually believe in America First, does this sound like America First to you? Meddling in the foreign affairs of Cuba and trying to crack down on them and telling them, yeah, it'll be changed. It has to be changed. The government has to be changed. Jesus Christ. But you know what? None of this matters. Because anytime you bring up any direct and specific and factual point about Trump's record when it comes to foreign policy, it gets dismissed by his people and they act like, no, bro, he's pro-peace, he's anti-war. Except when he does all the pro-war stuff. But if you ignore that, then he's kind of anti-war, right? Right, bro? Hey, y'all, do me a favor and like and subscribe. It helps out big time in the algorithm. Click the bell as well for notifications when videos drop. And watch that video on screen right now. You know you want to.